This service is provided in high definition by freeconferencecallhd.com. There is one other participant in the conference. The recording has started. Please announce yourself.
clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we hoped you to always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun. Permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper, so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm, so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm, and keep our country deep in debt. Put men of God in jail. Harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn. And your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear, be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. Pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now, as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you. God bless this republic.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Evening Intelligence Report. I'm Mark Kornke. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, west, southeast, north, and south. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com, Liberty Tree Radio on YouTube, live stream, and we are on AM and FM micro stations, AM and FM conventional stations, CB base stations, and Ultranet, Hallmark and Golden Spike technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon and evening to all of our friends out there in lower 49, including the great state of Jefferson, along with CONUS, the outlying two states, territories, and the clock. On the left coast, it is still 3 hours behind us, and that means it's afternoon out there. But not for long. Don't worry, you'll catch up. Anyway, Today's date, well, it's Monday. It is the 28th of September. It is the 12th year of open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist occupation of America with a K. 2020 Old Earth calendar. 2020, year of conflict, year of battle. Congratulations. Here we go. And a bunch of stuff is happening, of course, around the country, as we know. But a couple things here real quick. The Trojan horse, Amy Barrett, is pro-Jacobson. Jacobson ruling. This, of course, is in line with several of the discussions everybody's been having about how, let's see, recently cited, she recently cited, this is a 1905 Supreme Court case, bad for civil liberties / bad for independent / free-thinking people. She recently cited the case to justify her position that there are no civil liberties during a quote-unquote public health crisis. This means lockdowns are okay, forced mask wearing is okay, forced vaccines are okay, and by her logic, you have no Second Amendment right during a crisis either. So pay attention, in line with the police state / going after the guns. That's what Trump will do eventually. If we get into the conflict that they're going to fabricate, everybody is supposed to jump over to the Republican side, which, the cops have been confiscating guns. The cops have been after your guns. The cops would follow the Democrats' orders to grab your guns in a heartbeat. But not just that, also, needless to say, the mandatory kill shot and all of the other fun stuff that's planned, with no ramifications for the globalists who are trying to kill off America in the process. So this is why there's Team A, Team B, Team C, D, and E, and there's a few other lesser ones. We're not with A or B. That's the Republican or Democrat. Both of them are working two sides of the same coin with a betrayal of the American people. Step back, smell the coffee, look right at the enemy, and understand the game being played. So just another one of the stinking pedophilic ring knockers that's involved in the scam, and nothing good, on the horizon with that. In fact, just the reverse. Well, look, we got that person in. No, by the way, if we wait, we wait. We're not going to make it. We're not making any decisions on this. This is all the spit smoppers and ring knockers doing this garbage. Either way, they put one of their, scum in, either one bug-eyed Twilight Zone character or the other bug-eyed Twilight Zone character. Take your pick. That's really where we're headed. And we know that if they had their way and they waited, which of course doesn't make any sense to wait. It's just that there were other people who would be, let's just say, more American and less globalist. And Trump has been good for one thing, hiring globalist after globalist after globalist and screwing us all. And so this is just going to be another one of those POSs, as expected. Not a surprise. So just pay attention, heads up there. And look up the Jacobson decision, Supreme Court decision of 1905. And then take a look at comments made by this person and, in fact, decisions that she used this ruling to make to be pro-mask, pro-mandatory vaccine, the whole 9 yards. And it helped you to understand. And again, remember, they got to disarm you so that they can jab something up your butt or, in your arm. Disarm you, get your arm, and then get your life. So, not a surprise, just business as usual, lies within lies, circles within circles, plans within plans. And we better have a plan too. So, our aim to win. By the way, I want to say thank you to Randall and also to Mr. S for throwing a couple other pieces out there that are part of the, I actually got a printout of the original 1905 decision, which is what Amy Barrett has been citing. So haven't a chance to go through it all yet. Didn't have enough time before the program, but I see the gist of it and the writing's on the wall as far as how they're going to try and, flip and screw us one way or the other. It'll be the same game, barely a different name. Democrats and Republicans, both traitors to the American people. Oh, but they'll be frothing at the mouth. You know what the difference is going to be between the Trumpites and the Obamaites? Nothing when it comes to them frothing at the mouth at all of us for not, doing the lemming thing with whichever clique. That's the difference between the two. Notice I didn't call them Bidenites because Biden is an absolute meat puppet. We know this. I mean, we're talking soundbite meat puppet. Hell, not even a good soundbite meat puppet because they have to break down all of his comments, with, about one sentence per, and then stop the cameras and cue him up and get him from slobbering, prevent him from slobbering on himself, and then cue him up and then do it again and then stop and wipe the dribble from his, his lips and, get him to, look at the camera. Because he kind of gets off in drifty land. Yeah, well, anyway. So as it is, just pay attention. We know, like I said, writing's on the wall, game is in motion. You need to be ready for that. Let's see, a couple things here. I wanted to play, if we could, Edward. I think we got Ed right there still. Oh, I hate this. Anyway, Chris Ree, Road to Hell. The Road to Hell, don't need the full version. We want to do the short version. The long one, the full version is like 7 minutes long. So we can do a little less than that, actually. There's a shortened, it goes from the intro into the actual song. And let's see if I can find a better version of this here. Here we go. Ed's got it queued up. We'll be right back. Chris Ree, Road to Hell. Pay attention to the words. Look at what's going on right now. this is the road. Oh yeah, this is the road. This is the road to hell. But we don't plan on driving on that track or even shifting gears to join with the crew to Hades. So piss on all of them. We got a work to do. Organize, arm, equip, and train as militia. Establish a 510 program for your area of operation as quickly as possible. That means logistics at the local level and at the small unit level, more important than anything else, times 1,000,000 locations. Set up 510 programs wherever you can, utilizing the least expensive but certainly well-built former military inventories. There's a lot of stuff out there, and guys, right now, if you cherry pick, we're talking pennies on the dollar. You can still do that, but you got to cherry pick. You got to go all over creation to get it done right. You don't skimp one place and then all of a sudden splurge in the other and blow the savings that you made. We do what we can to pick and choose. Also, communications, transportation, and medical support units are a priority. You do not have to be part of a fighting unit to be part of the effort and part of the cause. We need medical personnel. We need transportation and communications units established now, not later. You people can be doing this, may not be able to fight. I've got a bad leg. I've got to go. Let's go right down the shopping list of whatever excuse you have. Guess what? You can still run a radio. You probably are driving a vehicle right now. And as far as medical goes, everybody can help stop somebody from bleeding to death, okay? So we need your help. We need to get in motion on this, and it needs to be at the national level, but at the tactical, the local level, on a massive scale. Just bring small units together. Don't need a big, beastie monster from above. That's the problem we've got right now. The grossly oversized, overburdened, inefficient bureaucracy machine that is wasting resources. We need to be at the tactical level, and we will still be dealing with them at the strategic level in the process. But if we take the tactical ground, they don't have anything to stand on. In other words, if we take the real estate and we keep it within our control, they're done. So, again, do your part. It is Monday. The weekend was very, very busy, and for a lot of you out there, again, if you were looking at ammunition, I don't know what the decision process was other than maybe just everybody, it's cumulative. Every week, every day, not just every week, every day more people are having their epiphany, or people are finally, it's sinking in. People are listening to other people. Maybe they're listening to this program. They're listening to a lot of other people. Some are, of course, doomsday routine where we're doomed. It's the end of the world. Well, if you're like that, you can sit over in the corner, wear your kimono, drink a broccoli shake, and sing I Wish I Were an Oscar Mayer Wiener while you wear your dog muzzle and, fade off into oblivion. On the other hand, we got to get motivated, and that means getting out there and finding the people who are hard chargers and ignoring the idiot sticks who are, we're doomed, it's doom, it's doom, it's going to be bad, and every day is doomed for someone. You do realize that. There are people that passed away today. There will be people that pass away tomorrow. Some point, I am going to be gone. You will be gone too. We're all going to take our turn. But in the meantime, we're still here. So let's put some doom on the other side. How's that sound? Pick an enemy, make sure you know who they are, watch for all the idiots with the commie signs in their yards, watch for the other idiots who try to tell you that you need to have, you need to do what they're telling you to do, like the face mask muzzle wearers. Remember those people, half of them are Democrats / Republic knots, whatever you want to call them. However we look at this, these characters are yet another group whose pure purpose is to help promote political correctness. Let's abbreviate it. All of this is political correctness. Trying to get you to shut up and just go ahead and goose step with the rest of the commies out of Moscow, Beijing, and Haifa and Tel Aviv. Okay? Well, not doing that. So that's done. Now, as we mentioned during the 2-hour block, I was bringing up medical, and I brought up ChinookMed.com. Okay? Any of these companies, I don't care which one you deal with, always go to their clearance and closeouts first. Some of the stuff like right now, because there's such a market, okay, a lot of these guys are not going to really come down off anything price-wise as far as critical items. However, there might still be one or two things that are close dated or, by their standards they have to switch out on for whatever reason. So you always want to check the clearance. A lot of it's going to be bags and such. Those you're pretty well familiar with. You know what you're doing with that. You can come up with your own kits. You don't have to use an official sanctioned says medical kit on the side. We use a number of different bags that are just, we have tons of, access them at the right time. We got 4 pallets of this, we got 3 pallets of that, or we got, a whole pallet or a case of, smaller bags. And those become the commission bags for, standard for whatever medical packaging system we come up with, what we choose to put in them, okay? One of the things they have right now, let's see, Quick Clot Combat Gauze Trauma Pad 12 by 12 inch, big one, $42.35. Now remember, that's a Quick Clot, that's a major trauma pad, the equivalent to a large. Actually, between a medium and a large, depending on which era you're talking about, but it's an overall, like a mass wound area pad. Can be for any number of different, like multiple shrapnel fragmentation, gunshot, multiple station within an area, pepper, like say a 3-shot burst from an automatic weapon. Because 3-shot, 3 to 5 is going to be your norm. 3 to 5, 3 to 5, 3, 3, 3, 3 to 5, 3. Well, hey, if they're really doing their job, you can get all those to pattern one place. We've talked about this before. Applying that first, individual trauma bandage that you have, it's not enough to cover all of the other spots, which is why I always carry spares anyway, just in case. Now, Doc's going to bring more to the table when he's coming to fix you, or when you're taken to where he is, which is better, so that he can fix you. But again, something like this is going to deal with major or significant tear, shred, lacerations. Did you see the guy's arm in Wisconsin at close range with a .556 round? Now, he didn't get hit as solid as he could have, or that arm would have been taken right off. You do understand that. I have pointed this out several times. I said, look at the way the hit was. Either it was a close graze, and that compression from the muzzle blast was enough to do really a big chunk of the damage. However, if that had been a bullet and it hit, say, the bone or the elbow, do you think that arm would have been pretty much taken off? I want you to think about that and take a look at it. So as it is, that was the type of injury where a larger wrap bandage like this, depending on how much more bleeding was going on or what was torn, what might be torn, especially talking about veins and, small veins, arteries, something like that, certainly you're going to do a compress. But you got to remember, whatever fluid's available is going to try to leak out of that area. So there are reasons for actually having a Quick Clot trauma pad this size. Back area, chest area, shoulder area, wrap around the arm, the whole of the arm. I mean, take a look at the unedited versions of that wound channel on the guy that was hit in the arm. Pretty much 60% of the tissue in the area of the arm, if you were looking at, say, 360 degrees, look at it from the end like it was cut off, how much of the effect of the arm was affected in that full, circle, how much of that, what percentage of the surface area was injury, how many degrees, okay? A wraparound like this, 12 inches, would accommodate and deal with that particular type of injury. Now, Quick Clot, actually, if you recall, Stop Bleed, there's a dozen different names, and originally when they were all competing with each other, Quick Clot is the one that still is out there in dominant force. Everybody recognizes Quick Clot. But there were other company names that basically are spin-offs of the same idea, the same basic components put into the same packaging, or system. So if you are looking at any of the other variations in the name brand company, they all work. Okay, it doesn't have to be Quick Clot in order for it to do what it's supposed to do. The big thing here again is to understand that you do need the system, the equipment in the system, in the medical cycle where it should be. Another thing, and this has to do especially when we look at supplies, is burn and blister care. Okay, I've mentioned this several times. Dry sterile burn dressing, cravat, extra large. I actually put 4 of these into the kit behind me. But in addition to that, you have a water gel burn dressing. There's a number of different sizes. 4x4 isn't very big, and a lot of times what that's going to be is part of a spatter. You might have a splash spatter burn. It's purely a matter of physics and what's in the way and what isn't in the way, what takes the hit, what doesn't take the hit. And a lot of people are thinking, well, no, I want the 19-inch by 11-inch. Yeah, that's a big burn area, $16.10. But there's no guarantee that that's going to be, viable for most of what you're doing. It is probable that if something's going to get scalded or fried, like, shall we say, flash burned, it's going to be large areas enveloped. But something in the mid-size makes more sense because you're willing to tear it open and use it down. Using a very, very, very large dressing for a very small or like a less affected area is a waste of material, which is why they make sizes and why you have to be able to make it so that Doc can pick and choose, or you can pick and choose. Now, the burn gel is designed to do something that we haven't talked about enough, but I wanted to today because, we have talked about it, but for many of you new listeners, I haven't talked about it a bit. Remember, with especially burns, other injuries can have similar long-term debilitating effects. Burns, once you collect a thermal energy under the skin in the subcutaneous tissue, it stays there and continues to do damage. That's why you want to shed those calories. You want to cool that area. You want to pull those calories to the surface and out. You want to radiate them out. Otherwise, you stew in your juices. You literally are cooking while under the surface while you're retaining that heat, and it's creating a greater injury. A boil type third-degree burn can run very, very deep and can become far worse than just a third-degree burn very, very, very quickly if you're not careful. So this is why this water gel burn dressing systems, these were brought into play. They're not the newest thing. There are a number of different overlapping technologies going back for the last 50 years because burns are nothing new. I mean, they go back as far as man's been throwing stuff at each other or having accidents. The boo-boo and the campfire, you know what I mean? But there are a number of options. An example here is if you look at the difference in prices, and again, let's see, what's probably the best example, 8 by 18, a long wrap, 8 by 16. Yeah, well, you're looking at almost for half the price for the, this is over at Chinook, by the way, water gel technologies, about half the price for more. In other words, you get more for less money spent. You might want to take a look and compare prices. Now, as far as, who built what, the water gel company, which probably has a government contract, I'd be willing to bet big money on that one, is actually American-made, whereas some of the others are China Sport, Israeli/China Sport, or other. All of them work. Don't make any mistake about that one. All of them work. But the water gel burn dressing system are about anywhere from 30 to 50% cheaper. So just a heads up, here again, having the stuff and the right tools in the toolbox is awfully handy. And I do harp on burns. Somebody actually is. It's kind of like chemical weapons. Okay, chemical weapons technology defense, NBC, nuclear, biological, and chemical defense. I harp on it. There's been a reason I've done it forever. It's one of those things we know from experience is a needful thing that usually is neglected until the last minute by everybody who finally realizes that they actually need what Mark's been harping about. Now, the same is true with regard to burns. It's a unique, odd niche that is not covered well. Doesn't mean that you can't, by the way, use other dressings and such on a burn. You're going to have to. You're only going to have so many packs of this material available, which is why you want to sparingly use them, and that's why a discerning eye needs to be developed so that you can understand the needs of the patient. This is why medical units need to be established now. This is why we need deep medical support. You can study any one of the subjects in medicine and become an adept in it within a very short period of time. You can become very, very specialized. Burns actually are not a bad choice because they are a lot more common than you've been led to believe, because it's not as couth in movies to cover what are excruciating injuries. It's bad when you get burned no matter what it is. You don't have to be on the battlefield to get burned. There's a burn society in the United States. My dad was a president here in Michigan. I'm very familiar with all of the aspects because I had studied this, looking at it from the medical end, the medicine end. And what's amazing is the jumps that we've made, warfare, bad enough. Warfare is usually what drives that. A lot of major developments took place in World War II, and considering that it was just as horrific then as it is now with regard to what weapons can do to people, and just what everyday things can do to people. You know, the kitchen's a killer if you don't watch it, right? The same is true with automobiles and equipment, no matter what it is, or machinery. Hell, hydraulic fluids, guys, in under pressure and in pumps, is running at temperature. Most people don't even realize that until they see a line go and somebody, gets their arm or something in front of it. Then they find out about, what burns are all about. And that's a boil burn. That's a cooking burn, a bad one. Okay, so this is why it is good not only to have this for military, but for general issue as part of your medical support, as part of an emergency medical kit. If you're into a certain industry, it's kind of like OSHA actually lays down the guidelines. I don't like the federal government at all. If I have no use for them. But let's look at the standards that really are established for a reason. And there are certain technologies you're supposed to have on standby because you are handling or working in a particular environment with a particular threat. Okay? So anyway, Chinook, that's CHINOOK, ChinookMed.com, and then go over to their burn section. You'll find what I'm talking about. You can take a look at what's available in the inventory, but the water gel, BurnTech is comparable price-wise. It's up and down. You look at the prices and see which one is a better choice in each of the sizes, then go from there. Make your decision based upon, again, pennies per pound. How much can I get for how many dollars? Or how many dollars does it take to get 1 pound of something, so to speak? It's actually less or more than that, but you know how it is. You're looking for the best price to get the most so you can treat more people, okay? Another thing, with regard to any of the medical items, medical tape, doesn't have to be the most expensive, but you're going to need a lot of it. The wraps that we were talking about that are available over at Sportsman's Guide, they're not tape, but they're the next best thing. They're a stretchable, gauze-type material, and for holding other dressings into place, if you have to improvise especially, they're probably the most valuable item that you're going to put into your kit as part of both your first, but more importantly, your second-tier usage issues. And this is something that, first tier is best, like we just said, using it out of the package. Second tier is taking advantage of the volume of other materials that you have on hand that are auxiliary. And between all of them, you can get the same job done. It's just not going to be necessarily as couth or pretty, which really doesn't count for anything anyway. I don't know how any bandage is going to be couth/pretty, but the industrial purpose-made stuff looks, it looks very quote-unquote professional. Using a Kotex and a wraparound elastic bandage doesn't look as professional, but don't worry, if you take the elastic bandage and cover everything up, nobody will know the difference. You see how that works? So again, ChinookMed.com is one location, but let's go back over to Sportsman's Guide. Swedish military surplus elastic bandage, 25 to a box, new, $17.99. Now, guys, these are a lot more expensive, surplus everywhere else. Coleman's, everybody else has got these. This is the greatest volume for the least amount of money, even if you go to Chinook, if you go look at the price for these. And it's Swedish military surplus elastic bandages, 25-pack, new, $18. I'm going to put a penny on there. It's $17.99, $18, okay? And that's over at sportsmansguide.com, sportsmansguide.com, Swedish military surplus elastic bandages, 25-pack, new. And again, all the information is there on the page if you're curious. And it's elastic cotton construction, new condition. I hope so. It doesn't have red and rusty brown and other yucky colors, right? No, it's white. 4.75 inches wide, 84 inches long. That's a lot of bandage to work with. And each one less than $1 a piece. So this is where you do the bulk packing. When I do the wet weather radio bags, which of course we use for medical bags, the communications bags, this is the kind of bulk stuff that I have packed in there. Half a case of small dressings, a full case of medium dressings, 2 elephant tampons, which are the military large dressings, and then piles of tape, In this case, I would add 2 of these if I could squeeze them in there, along with several boxes of the Dollar Tree thin feminine pads. They're supposed to be as absorbent, but they are thinner, which means you can throw stuff more into the bag. That's your other auxiliary dressing. You slap that onto an area, you take this elastic dressing, you put that around it, tie that off, cut off what you don't use, and take it on to one other part of the injury on the same person if need be, or to supplement other areas where you still don't have enough absorption or you're not able to put enough energy uniformly on the target, on the wound area. Guess what? The elasticized dressing does that. Okay, helps to put pressure all the way around. Remember, compress first, if at all possible. We still believe in that, but also have tourniquets on hand. If you saw how the idiot stick Antifa were torturing their own people down in Atlanta, remember the girl who had or female, he, she, it, that had the gray shot, was not spurting, wasn't really losing that much blood. By God, they put a tourniquet on there, and they torqued that son of a bugger down, and they ripped that wound open and made it so painful. I just love the way my enemy does that to his kind, especially the ones that deserve it. So, oh well. Again, this is why you also need to do a little research and practice. You have to remember, well, first of all, look at the wound and evaluate. That's why you have people who are supposed to be team leaders, or, again, that's Doc and the other are Doc's assistants. The assistants are learning. Doc is teaching. In the field,
hey, Mark,
that can happen. Go ahead, caller, jump in there.
This is Hal in South Dakota. Can you repeat the name of that bandage dressing at Sportsman's Guide? I missed you right when you were talking.
That's okay. It's again, this is at sportsmansguide.com for everybody listening, www.sportsmansguide.com. When you get there, it's Swedish military surplus elastic bandages, 25 pack, new. $18 and free shipping for $49 or more. So guys, you do a couple of these and a few other items and a couple of bundles of these and you're free shipping. The item number is WX2-703001. Again, that's WX2-703001. And they do show a picture of them. They're individually plastic wrapped, and I understand it sounds like they come in a box. I would expect that. Also, there is nomenclature because they are, of course, individually wrapped. The neat thing about this is if you wanted to, although here's what I do. If you're going to break down the box, I would take a couple out. I would put them into these either 1 or 2, depending on how much space they take up, because I don't know what their actual bulk is, or as far as how big around are they. There's a picture, but I don't get a scale item there. I would take a snack-size Ziploc bag and either put 1 or 2 in that, and I would add that protection to the whole system. I know that sounds redundant, but guys, redundancy is what keeps the garbage from getting wet and breaking down and being damaged and dirty. So what you do, if you're going to pack these into like med kits, you're not going to keep them in the box anyway. You're going to want to try and pack in and, stash them in different pockets and locations depending on the kit you have. Also, with these, you put them in the blowout kit. You can put a couple of these in there as auxiliary packers. Example, if you have a wound channel, see that nice big round cylindrical thing there? Goes right, you jam that right in as far as you can, as quick as you can. Now, as long as the arterials, you don't have an arterial spurt, even then, what you're trying to do is stop that from happening, so you're going to try and pack it. But if you could clamp it first, you do that. Sounds pretty hurtful. It is. But if it's early on, the person's not going to feel much of it because they're in shock. At one degree or another, there's the sooner you do this, the less pain you're going to inflict upon your casualty. I want you to think about that. So I know it's horrible, looks horrible. But you take that, for instance, you've got smaller round gauze that are half the height of these things that you would, they're now presently in the blowout kits for shoving into the wound channel. Some of them have quick clot in them. Some of them have Versagel. There's a bunch of different stuff. Hell, there's one that's looks like a big injector for doing turkeys. where you actually it actually has a pellet like cotton with quick clot in it. You jam it into the wound channel and then push on it, like, because it's like a big hypodermic, and you pull it out as you push, and it inserts all the material into the wound channel and creates volume and absorption while it also applies the quick clot. So in this case, this is where you got past all those, but you need more. And let's not forget, for anybody who wonders, oh my God, could you put that into somebody's arm or a wound like that? Okay, I'm going to take you back over to Kenosha, and I want you to look at the unedited pictures of that guy's arm. Do you see what that looks like? See, we have classes. We can use everything as a classroom here. Why don't you go take a look at that wound on that arm? Now just imagine if that was a through and through instead of just a blowout. That was like through a leg or even like the upper arm or maybe even lower into the arm, but maybe if he was lucky, it'd have been a little farther away and the bullet just would have passed through and maybe or maybe not taken a bone out. If it was a through and through, that wound channel is what you're trying to, fill up, because right now it basically looks like chicken liver in the center, and that's eviscerated tissue that's going to have to be debrided from the wound. However, you may not have time, and you're not going to really have time for it, so it's going to be part of the detritus and material that plug is also going to have to help evacuate. If you haven't had wounds packed, I've had wounds packed like this with, perforation wounds and whatever, you take a roll of gauze the size of what you see, half of what you see there, those pictures that are the Swedish military surplus elastic bandage, take and pack that from one end. You unroll it and pack it until all of it is packed into an area, both into the wound channel and under the skin. Now, what is this doing? Well, you've got a lot of eviscerated tissue that is not necessarily going to be easily evacuated, / debrided. So what you do is you're creating a wick. What this does is it allows for detritus and waste material to be evacuated out and down through the cotton mass that you've put in there. It becomes literally a wick, like for a lamp. It's not going to smell pretty, and it's not going to. What's going to happen is the body literally is going to push it and force it out as it loads up on the surface end. Take a pair of scissors and you snip that off and chuck that into the bio waste, and don't just throw it somewhere. It's full of pus, detritus, bacteria, all kinds of nasty stuff. Progressively, you're going to pull it. You'll work it out to the point where literally the whole plug is going to come back out, and in the process, it's hopefully going to promote healing. And the body will heal itself internally. You can't just have it slough over and seal from the outside first. That's another reason you want to keep that channel open. Otherwise, you have a pustulating area, a pocket underneath that's encapsulated, and it takes so much longer. The body then has to try and absorb that material and then try to piss it out or try to defecate it out. You're just putting your work in the body where you don't need to. If you know what you're doing and you do a little bit of research, you'll understand what I'm talking about. What you're doing is giving the body an opportunity to more effectively work against the areas that are damaged, and even though it may seem like you're keeping the wound channel open longer, yes, to the point where we're seeing healing from the core out, which is especially critical in a situation like this. So one thing to think about, that's why these are tools. These are all tools in the toolbox. That's what you're looking at this as. How am I going to keep my people from dying? And I don't want them to, and I don't want to lose a limb if I can help it either. Even that character that you saw that where his arm was chucked out the way it was, you could be dealing with that if you had to separately without the government medical system the way it is. Would we be able to put everything back together? Yeah, basically you could do just exactly what the hospital is doing. Can we do muscle pack transfers or structural reconstruction? No, probably not. We may or may not be able to, do that depending on the medical teams available and resources. More importantly is we're going to save what we can and save the person's life. The most important thing is it's post-injury degradation that takes place that gets you. It's, infections, again, number of other issues with regard to, depending on what the injury is and where it is, cascading failure of organs, etc. Don't forget that. Loss of fluids, dehydration, kill you just as fast. Okay, so all these things need to be taken into consideration. You need to do some research. I can't do it all here on the radio program. But I can give you the tools for the toolbox. That's the first half of the battle, and this is a very good price. This is an excellent price. Even if you weren't doing this for anything other than, say, a medical kits for emergency in your retreat, or to have stuff in your car. How many car accidents have you seen where people have just been standing there looking at somebody because they have nothing? Okay, I want you to think about that one. Now, granted, here's what I do when I help people on the road. I don't stick around. Everybody goes, well, Mark, you could be liable. Well, are you a doctor? I go, nope, nobody ever asks if you're a doctor when they're trying to keep them from bleeding to death. But you don't want to wait around for the asshat who's the ambulance chaser to think about causing problems for you. And you don't worry, you're not really worried about taking credit. If somebody else walks up who looks like they're even like, I'm a paramedic and I'm off duty, oh, congratulations, you're in charge. And then you know what you do? You let him just get into the job and you leave. How do you like that? I wasn't looking for a pat on the head and a squeeze on the ass. I was looking for, again, helping people and getting on with life. And the way to do it so that there are no other foreign entanglements with the, the kosher mafia, well, again, don't take credit. Just get it done and get on down the road and be, feel good about having helped your fellow human being. How's that sound? And you can do it when you have the tools in the toolbox. Now, a couple other things here. Let's see. And Sportsman's Guide, by the way, now I did promise I was going to do this. I'm going to do it real quick, real fast. Okay, attention. How to armor up your truck really fast. Real quick, first stage armor, okay? Number one, go to Sportsman's Guide. Oh, we're already there. We were looking at the Swedish military surplus elastic bandages, 25-pack. New. They're brand new. I hope they are. I haven't seen any used medical supplies yet. Anyway, the next, British military surplus DPM ballistic flak vest with plates, used, $85.50. They have them up to extra large. I'm looking at it right now. They do have them in stock. I've got 2 of them in my cart ready to be picked up. These are not for me to wear, although you could wear them. They can wear them. They're good vests. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't have anything, hey, this is a lot better than $300-400. Is it as protective? No, but it is full wraparound armor, and any armor is good armor. It's better than your butt hanging in the breeze, okay? But we're going to armor up your vehicle real quick. So you go to your car, you get 2 of these, get the extra larges. If you don't have the extra large, then get the large. If they don't have the large, then get the mediums, whichever. And you're just going to have that. You see that Velcro wraparound in the picture? You're going to loosen that up. You're going to go over to your vehicle. You got 2 of them. You're going to take the headrests out of your seats left and right. You got 2. Your seats are typically adjustable to go forward and backwards. Suburbans, Silverados, Ford F-150s, Expeditions, all of your foreign, Chinese, Jap-made cars, no matter what they are, and your Europeans are pretty much all the same. They have modular seating. It's made by Faros of Detroit, or Faros of America. That's who makes most of the power seats, 100% actually. Anyway, what you do is you take the headrest out. Now, you take the vest, you open up that Velcro and loosen it up. You slide the whole vest over the seat, the seat back. But here's what you do. You take the back of the vest and put it to the front towards where your back will rest in the seat. The pockets on this vest, the British military surplus DPM ballistic flak vest with plates, the pockets go on the back of the seat. That gives you a place to put junk. Now you can still sit comfortably because that back of that vest is going to be just like a reinforced, reinforced back plate. And it's soft. Now, once you get that in and we got the slid over the seat, then you adjust your Velcro to snug everything up so it doesn't slop around. Then you take your headrest. Notice where your head hole is where the headrest is. And you take that and you stick your headrest right back into place and lock it down where it belongs, and guess what? You've just armored up the driver's seat and the rider's seat for a grand total of what? $170? Not bad. And guess what? You don't just get protected with one side of the vest. You get both panels behind you. Because remember, the panel to the rear is also behind you along with the panel that's right behind your back. So you get the advantage of both panels for rear protection. Again, it's limited armor. But remember that Antifa, police state checkpoints, when they're shooting at you and you're trying to get away or, trying to leave the area because you don't want to have any discussion with them, they're trained to shoot at your driver station and rider station and to try and fire into the seat under the logic that you're ducking. If you pay attention to how they're trained, they've all had classes. The Israelis are the murderers whose job it is to teach the police state America to be murderers in America like they are with the Palestinians in the Middle East. And they teach them constantly how to do things like this. And if you pay attention, you've had a lot of examples of what normally is done. There are some excellent images of the two Hispanic women who were delivering newspapers that were fired on by the cops when they were looking for the big black policeman who was about 300 pounds and 6'4". He didn't look anything like the 5 foot or shorter two Mexican women. They were in a different truck. They were in a different colored truck, wrong brand. They both were 5 foot tall or less. They barely could see over the dash when they were sitting in the truck, and the cops fired the living snot out of them because they were all panicked and terrified. And or maybe they just wanted to shoot at the Mexican women. I don't know. But if you look at the images from that window of activity, look at where the bullets are placed. This is the only reason I want you to look at that incident. I want you to look at where the bullets are placed. You'll notice that the cops are very proficient in putting the bullets down. They didn't aim up into the windshield. They put them down right into the seat and right where they expected both of those women to be hiding. Well, guess what? You put the armor in place like we're talking about, those bullets aren't going to get through to you. In fact, if you're wearing additional body armor, you're pretty well protected, and for a very reasonable price. What's your life worth? Go ahead, caller, jump in there.
Yeah, on that vest you were talking about from those plates, are those soft armor plates or are those hard armor plates?
They should be soft. No, this is a soft. This is the equivalent to the PASGAT armor for the same era. They're in a DPM camouflage. They did have some in OD green, but then those were only $45, which I would have recommended, but those are gone. This is the same vest, the next generation, again in DPM, the paintbrush pattern, and it's the exact same vest as far as how it's built. It would still be good to wear. I mean, personally, again, for the price, there's nothing that's close to it right now, and if you wanted to add plates, remember you have the ability to insert additional armor into these things. There's all kinds of sales on individual soft but higher grade rifle plates. Not the most expensive, but if you put it on this, it's not really a bad deal. They don't give me the weight. Oh, hold on, maybe they do. I'm looking. I don't see the weight. Usually they give you the actual weight on these things. Every one of them so far, but this one they don't. So again, removable Kevlar plates, machine wash and dry, of course, after you remove the plates. Velcro closures, polyester, canvas shell, etc., etc. So all the information's there. And again, it's British military.
So the canvas shell is not any protection. It's just a carrier for the plates, soft plates.
Right. Oh no, the shell is just it's just all of these are like that. The only thing is that most of the Euro plates that they built, most of the Euro systems have a zipper back, and you can take the plates out and wash the hull separately. In fact, if you go to Sportsman's Guide, there are some of the Czech, Polish, British. There's a couple of the British, and then there's some of the French shells by themselves. If you punch in, which again, if you wanted to build up, make up your own, you could actually do that once you get an idea what the size of the carrier is. But they're cheap. I mean, they're really ridiculously cheap. Some of them are like $4 for $20 or $3 for $20. Maybe they've gone up. But surplus tactical vest, if you punch that in over at Sportsman's Guide, a number of other different shells. This is not the shell. This is the whole thing. This is the whole vest. That's why I keep pointing at it. It's one-stop shopping and very quick to install. Okay, for the vehicle. Now, if you're going to use it for yourself, you just put it on the way you normally would. You're ready to go. And what I would do with this, to be quite honest, like I've said before, there's two pockets. You can buy chicken plates in any size you want, and I would get a chicken plate and put it inside one of each pockets, one that fits the one that fits the other, and then I'd turn around and get one of these briefcase or backpack plates, the shorter one, and I'd open up the back open up the vest, and I'd put at least one plate up front. And ideally, if I had more money, then I'd put one in the back, and I'd have poor man's level 4 armor. At least I'd have level 3 plus, but it'd be better than that because it's wraparound armor. See, that's the one thing I've been repeating is, guys, the plate armor is a wonderful idea because any armor is better than no armor, but The plate armor, most everybody's got these plate carriers, and they're only covering front and rear with no wraparound defense. And a lot of what you're going to get are scuds and tags and fragmentation. Look at the stuff you're seeing fly around in these riots. Now, they're already throwing pipe bombs. They're already, and that's going to be just regular mid and low velocity fragmentation. This vest could handle that. So there, everybody says, well, it's not good for anything. Really? Well, then you haven't been paying too much attention to the battlefield. You know, so it's a matter of budget. If I couldn't, a lot of people can't do $500 vests, you know, boom, or $300 vest, boom, right off the bat. They went and bought a $300 or $500 or $600 rifle. They had to buy $300 worth of mags. They had to buy an overly priced amount of ammunition. Well, now what do you got left? But you still want a vest. You know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Not much, but
oh, we walked right up to the top real fast here. I'm sorry. Guys, for everybody out there, again, this is an armor solution for the vehicles, but you can wear it, and they do have mediums, large, and extra large, and these are adjustable for size, so the extra large will go a little bigger. Always remember that. And with any of the other vest systems that are out there, just go ahead and take a look and see what they have at Sportsman's Guide, and then look at some of the other companies. Sportsman right now is the cheapest in this category, not in everything, but for the moment they've got the best price. Even eBay is ridiculous for armor right now. Stupid price. God bless our republic.
Yes, they will order.
We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The empire is on the run.
And we're on the march. That's night and day.
Hoorah. Kick them to slats, beat them down hard, don't let them get back up, and when they try, bust their arms backwards, bust their legs backwards, and remind them of why it is they should never have come out onto this battlefield in the first place, because we are taking it seriously right from the beginning, and our mission is to win. That means they lose. Bad. Very bad. Let's make sure that happens. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow, same time. Edward taking over. More LTR coming up. Bye-bye.